It's absolute chaos in Formula One. We've never seen anything like this before. Mohammed Ben Suleiman, as you probably know, the president of the FIA, is under investigation. I can't believe I'm reading this, for allegedly interfering over a Formula One race result. It all concerns this man here, Fernando Alonso. Again, Alonso is involved in an FIA. If you remember back to Crashgate and everything, this is different now. I'm going to explain all the facts for you. So if you don't know what's going on, but you want to know why it's carnage, this is the video where I'm going to explain everything. What happened? Why is there an investigation? What does it mean? Because this could change everything. The whole tectonic plates of Formula One are going to shift right now. It's going to change, affect all the manufacturers, all the teams. It's going to affect Andretti coming in. All the balance of power is going to completely change here. So what is going on? Why is there an investigation? And what has Mohammed Ben Suleiman, the president of FIA, done? Well, there's been a whistleblower who's told a number of press outlets, including, I believe, the BBC, that Mohammed Ben Suleiman allegedly intervened to overturn a penalty given to Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso at the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The claim there is in a report by the FIA compliance officer who's made that to an ethics committee, and the BBC have actually seen that. The BBC have approached Ben Suleiman and the FIA. There's been no comment. This has been deliberately released in the week of the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So again, like we saw with the Christian Horner leaks, it's been delivery time. But what happened in 2023? I've got the whole timeline here for you. So if you weren't there, it all centers around Fernando Alonso originally getting a penalty for actually starting the race a little bit outside his grid slot. It was his front left tyre was just a little bit outside the box, and the stewards noted that, and he was placed under investigation. He was then very quickly, within a couple of minutes, given a 5-second penalty for having the wrong starting location. Fernando put his hands up and said he couldn't quite see out the halo. That was only his second race, wasn't it, for Aston Martin? Then his teammate, ironically, Lance Stroll, had a energy recovery issue and had to retire from the race. So there was double yellow flags and then a safety car. So obviously under the safety car, Fernando Alonso came into pit. Now, because he had the 5-second penalty for the incorrect grid position, Fernando Alonso elected to take that 5-second penalty in the pits, or you have to take it in the pits. So you have to come in, wait 5 seconds, and then the team can go on with the pit stop. So originally that all looked okay. Fernando Alonso came in, he stopped, waited for 5 seconds, then the team worked on the car, and his total pit stop time was 8.56 seconds. But then there was a investigation actually on the final lap of the race. At this point, Fernando Alonso is in an absolutely sensational P3, by the way. So remember last season, Alonso and Aston Martin were doing incredibly, so he's in P3. But on the last lap, he's under investigation for not observing the 5 seconds in the pit lane. And then after the race, very quickly after the race, but while Alonso was still getting the champagne and on the podium, he was given a 10-second post-race penalty for not observing the 5-second delay in the pit lane. That actually 10 seconds put him behind George Russell, because he only finished, I think, just ahead of George Russell in the race, and now he's behind George Russell with the penalty. And then it all hell kicks loose, because, by the way, the issue was, I think, that the jack had touched the front of the car, and there was a dispute about whether that means that the car was being worked on before the 5-second penalty, or whether that started the timer for the pit stop. There was lots of drama, and after midnight, basically, Aston Martin appealed, and after the appeal, Fernando Alonso's penalty was removed, and he was reinstated officially as a driver, finishing in third place. So that's what happened last year in Saudi. By the way, if that's helpful and you enjoy the show, please make sure you're subscribed. Let me know what you think in the comments. So what's happened now? There's been an allegation. The allegation is that Mohammed Ben Suleiman called Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamas bin Isa Al Khalifa, who is the FIA's vice president for sport for the Middle East and North Africa region, who was an official at the race in Saudi Arabia. So a high-ranking FIA official, sort of a subordinate to Mohammed Ben Suleiman. And Mohammed Ben Suleiman thought that Alonso's penalty should be taken away. So we're talking about the 10-second penalty here. So this is all happening after the race. Remember, Alonso has gone up to the podium by this stage. He's been given, all the TV cameras is all there. He's celebrated. He's got the trophy, and then he's issued a 10-second penalty after that, which actually demotes him. So George Russell, who's just doing post-race interviews, he gets told you actually finished third there. And this is very, 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 very controversial because we're talking about impeding with sporting regulations here. And basically, this is where you have the FIA adjudicating on Formula One as the essential regulator of Formula One. So you have that impartiality. So there's been a report that was served at the time when Aston Martin were reviewing the decision to give a penalty, and the stewards had to justify why they overturned the penalty. And this is what they said: "We concluded that there was no clear agreement, as was suggested to the stewards previously, that could be relied upon to determine that parties had agreed that a jack touching the car would amount to working on the car, and then there's some regulations about when a car is stationary and when it can be worked on." And I think Aston Martin provided loads of video evidence of other teams serving penalties, and obviously the driver has to drive to the jack to stop it. But the timing of this is absolutely crazy. I just want to give you like a little history. In recent weeks, we've seen Toto Wolff and Susie Wolff come under an investigation by the FIA, or is noted by the FIA about some sort of collusion or leaking of information between Susie Wolff, who has an FIA capacity in terms of F1 Academy, and Toto Wolff. That was basically just completely rubbish. We've then seen in the last few days Christian Horner come under investigation for allegations made at Red Bull against him, and then assertions, people whispering that the FIA are saying do this, do that. Nothing's been proved, and now we've seen this whistleblower stating that Mohammed Ben Sulayem allegedly has influenced a penalty decision against Fernando Alonso in the 2023 season, which is absolutely extraordinary. It basically, there is probably a leaker on the loose in the paddock in Formula One, and I've speculated before that Formula One has reached a level now where it requires drama. It requires absolutely sensational stuff to happen to sort of just sustain Formula One, because that's where we are post 2021, post Drive to Survive. And because this season, if you've seen the F1 breaking news show that we released on this channel a couple of hours ago, that it looks like this season isn't necessarily going to have that amount of drama on the track. It all seems to be coming off the track. So what does this mean for Mohammed Ben Sulayem? Is it a tenable position? I don't know. I'm just reporting on this. You let me know on the comments. This is the biggest drama, I think, to have hit Formula One for many, probably going back to Max Mosley, probably going back to Crashgate, probably going back to Spygate, if those words mean anything to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video here. Please make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.